Hey, what's up, guys? Ash PFC here again, and this time I thought I'd show my console collection off. Yeah, you can see I've got quite a few. You probably notice this is some I'm still missing, but I plan on getting those at some point in the future. But like I said, it will be in the future, not anytime soon. So I just thought I might as well, show off what I have for now. I thought so. Yeah, let's get started. Obviously, first up here we have the Sega Mega Drive. Almost called it the Genesis, which it was better known as in the States. Obviously, over here it was, and everywhere else I think it's the Mega Drive. This is the Model 2 version, I believe, the only version I've ever had. But yeah, a really good console. Obviously, played a lot of this when I was a kid, one of my childhood consoles, mainly for Sonic. But there were other classics like such as Shinobi, Streets of Rage, all those sort of games. Some pretty good stuff and some pretty good RPGs actually on this console. But yeah, that's the Mega Drive right there. Next up, I'll show my one of my handhelds. This is actually the Gameboy Advance SP. Got the little clamshell design. I do have the original model somewhere, but I can't seem to find it. So yeah, I can't show that one off. But this is the SP version. This was actually the better version because, as you can see, hold on, I'll see if it's got any charge. And it does just about. As you can see, it has a backlight which you can switch on and off, but obviously the original model didn't, so it was incredibly hard to see the screen. You had to be sat right under the light or something like that. But yeah, thankfully this one had a backlight, so yeah, pretty cool. So that's the Game Boy SP right there. What else have we got? Oh, got the one of my personal favourite consoles. One that's got a lot of memories for me, a lot of nostalgia, that being the Super Nintendo. Yeah, pretty damn good console. Spent many hours playing on this thing as a kid. Yeah, I mean, had I think originally I got the I think it was like a Super Mario All Stars like a package, which came with the All Stars game, which I believe had enhanced remakes of Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. And I think it included lost levels, I think, or something like that. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Obviously, this had such amazing games such as Super Metroid, Super Mario World 1 and 2. Obviously the one and only Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. So, amazing games. The Donkey Kong series. Games like Secret of Mana, and in the States it had games like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 3. Obviously we missed out on those in the UK, but yeah, really good console. Got a lot of memories with this. So yeah, it's the Super Nintendo. We got next. We'll show the Sony Playstation. Oh yeah, this one was a great console as well. I was actually very late in getting a PlayStation. I got one quite maybe something like 2 or 3 years after it actually came out. So yeah, I was more of a Nintendo guy. I had the N64 instead. But yeah, this is a pretty damn good console back in the day. Had some pretty amazing RPGs on it. But yeah, I've actually this console, like most of the consoles I'm actually showing, mainly the old ones, aren't the original models which I had. Obviously, I've had to rebuy them. I sold them all back in the day, but this is one that I've had since I bought it. Quite some time ago now. But yeah, this is actually modified, so I can play imports on it. But I've actually had a few problems with it in the past. It's not sometimes it doesn't like to read the discs. Particularly the ones that had the black bottoms on them, the old PS1 games. But yeah, but for the most part, it seems to work alright. So yeah, it was a pretty damn console, home of Metal Gear Solid, one of my favourite games of all time. and many other pretty amazing games right there. So yeah, that's the Sony PlayStation. Next we have the Nintendo 64. Oh yes, probably, I think it's safe to say this is my favourite console from Nintendo, I think. Again, a lot of memories of this thing. Had some of the greatest games of all time on it. I mean, really. We had all those amazing Rare games when Rare used to be an amazing developer. Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Donkey Kong 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark. So it was great because it had the 4 controller ports. So yeah, like I said, GoldenEye, I had a lot of fun times playing a 4-player split screen on GoldenEye. That multiplayer was epic. So yeah, honestly, I had one of the greatest Mario games of all time, Mario 64, and also The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, one of possibly my favourite Zelda game of all time. But yeah, like I said, probably my favourite Nintendo console of all time. Yeah, a lot of memories on this thing, pretty amazing. But yeah, that's the N64. Next up, we'll show the Sega Dreamcast right there. Now, in my opinion, this is an incredibly underrated console. It kind of failed, didn't sell that well, which I thought was a real shame, because this was pretty amazing and pretty quite ahead of its time. I thought it had internet capabilities and had pretty damn good graphics. And obviously it had those amazing controllers with the visual memory unit that went in it. Those were really cool. Some of them were integrated into the game, and you could actually take the things out and play like mini games on them. It was pretty amazing. Yeah, I'd like such great games such as Sonic Adventure, probably one of the best 3D Sonic games of all time, and 2 of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion, being Shenmue 1 and 2. I mean, those games were way ahead of their time, but yeah, again, I think it's a shame this console never really succeeded. It was, Sega's last console on the market. It's kind of a shame, really, but yeah, I thought it was really good. Again, a lot of memories on this console. So yeah, that's the Sega Dreamcast. Next I'll show the PlayStation 2, the Sony PlayStation 2. So this is the slim model. My original, the fat model, kind of broke on me a while back, so I had to kind of trade that in for the slim model. But I think this is probably one of the greatest consoles of all time. It had such an amazing games library, so many unbelievable games, all the RPGs, all the crazy shooter games, and things like God of War and all the Final Fantasy games, the Metal Gear Solid series. I mean, the list goes on. This was a pretty damn good console. One of my favourites of all time. Again, I was actually quite late to getting PS2. Again, I probably got one at least 2 years after it came out. But yeah, pretty amazing console. I love the PS2. I think probably Sony's best. I think, well, in terms of what I had most fun on, probably this game, because it's the amazing games library it had and kind of dominated the competition. But that's the PlayStation 2. Next, I'll actually show one of my more recent console buys, and that being the Sega Saturn. Right there, I actually, for the first time ever, bought one of these things just a few months ago. Yeah, this is the first time for me actually owning one, and to be honest, I've not got a whole lot I can say about this, because I've really not got around to playing it yet. I've barely switched this thing on. I've played maybe an hour or so at the most, but yeah, I just never got one of these back in the day. I just kind of missed it somehow. But yeah, like I said, I've barely played this thing. I can't really say a whole lot about it, so there's no memories for me with this thing. So, but one day I'll get around to playing it. I know there's some great games for it out there, so yeah, I look forward to playing that sometime in the future. But yeah, next up, I'll show another handheld, that being the DS. This is actually the DS Lite model. The only other one I know, they re-released this console a few times. There was the DSi, I believe, and the DS XL. And obviously the big bulky one before this, but this is the only one that really interested me. I didn't really see the point in getting any of the others, because I think most importantly, this thing it had backwards compatibility for the GBA, whereas obviously the two models after this didn't. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I play a lot of my Game Boy Advance games, all the old classics on this thing. Yeah, it's a pretty cool handheld. I think, like I said previously in my games collection, I've never really been too much of a fan of handheld gaming, but yeah, I thought this was pretty good. I had a pretty good games library. It suited me a lot more than the PSP. I thought it had a lot better games and more innovative games with, you know, the dual screens and the touch screen. Some pretty good RPGs like, you know, Dragon Quest and the Final Fantasy remakes, and yeah, it was a pretty cool handheld. I liked it. There's still a lot of games yet I've still got to play on this, but yeah, you know, that's the DS right there. I'll show the PSP now. The next one. I was never really a fan of this console, to be honest. I've never really got my money's worth out of this. I've barely touched it. Spent most of its life on my shelf. Most of the games didn't really appeal to me that much. I'm sure there are some good ones out there I haven't actually played. But I did really enjoy the God of War games for it. I thought they were pretty damn good. Yeah, well, like I said, I've barely touched this thing. I was just more a fan of the DS, to be honest. It had a games library that, you know, suited me more. But yeah, I will get around to playing some more games on this at some point. I'm sure there's some really good ones out there, such as, you know, Crisis Core. I hear good things about that, and a few others out there. But yeah, that's the PSP. Next, I'll show the Nintendo Gamecube. I think the original model I had was the black one, I think. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty damn good console from Nintendo. It had some really, really good games. Sadly, it didn't quite have that Ultimate Mario game like the other Nintendo consoles did. I mean, it had Super Mario Sunshine, which I thought was the weakest, probably, of all the Marios, but it wasn't a bad game. But actually, I also had one of my favourite Zelda games of all time, that being Wind Waker. And it had some other really good, unique games like Eternal Darkness and the Resident Evil remakes. Resident Evil 1 remake and Resident Evil 0, and Resident Evil 4. Some really good games, and Luigi's Mansion was really fun. Games like Star Fox and Pikmin and so forth. Yeah, it had some pretty good games. I mean, not my favourite console from Nintendo, but I still thought it was really good. Yeah, it had quite a lot of power in it as well. Also, it seemed back in the day, it had some pretty good graphics. But yeah, it's the Nintendo GameCube. Next, we've got the first console I bought of this generation, as it was the first to the market. But yeah, that's the Xbox 360. This is the original model. I think it was packaged as two models, weren't it? The premium, I think, and the core, was it? And this is just the core model with the standard CD tray and that. But this model's actually broken right here. Kind of the laser's kind of dead in it. This is actually the second Xbox I own, because the first one got the usual 3 red lights, or red ring of death, or whatever. So, but this was the second one I got in exchange for it. But the CD tray, the laser's kind of dead, so it kind of gives most games the unreadable disc error, and it just won't read most of them. So you have to install all the games to play on it. But you can only really install one game at a time because of the small hard drive. But yeah, so it's kind of useless. But you know, I might as well keep it for collection purposes. So yeah, that's the Xbox 360. And obviously, when that broke, I decided to splash out and get the Elite model. So yeah, I still think it's prone to the 3 red lights. I've never had it, but I still think it still gets it. But I thought it was a pretty cool looking design. The black I thought was better. But yeah, I mean, the Xbox is probably my favourite console of this generation. It's just my console of choice. I get most of my multi-platform games on this thing. But yeah, and then obviously the S model came out not too long ago. So I decided I'd get one of them. Play it safe. So yeah, that's the S model. I think it's a pretty cool looking design. Actually, it's a lot smaller, and I've had no problems with this so far. I do play quite a lot. Like I said, the 360 is my favourite console at the moment. Yeah, like I buy most of my multi-platform games on it, and yeah, it's a pretty cool console. The thing that annoys me is the ever-changing dashboard. I just wish Microsoft would have kept it simple. Again, it's just becoming just a mess. It's just you switch it on, you've just got adverts everywhere. You've got Facebook, Twitter, Netflix, all sorts of music videos, and I just want to play games. That's the only reason I buy consoles to play games. But Microsoft and Sony seem to be forgetting that it's a games console, and they're trying to turn it into some crazy multimedia device, and yeah, just kind of annoys me. But yeah, like I said, it's still my favourite console this generation. Then next up, we've got the PlayStation 3 right here. Probably my second favourite console this generation. I think it's fair to say that the PS3 now has the upper hand when it comes to exclusives. I think it does have the better exclusives, such as the Uncharted series. It's got God of War, various other ones as well, Metal Gear Solid, Heavy Rain. It's kind of some pretty good exclusives, and it's a really good console. I do really like the PlayStation 3, but like I said, when it comes to multi-platform games, I always seem to buy them on the 360 instead. I'm not sure why, but I just kind of prefer it. But yeah, it's a really good console. It packs quite a bit of power. It's a pretty powerful thing, so yeah, I look forward to see what the PS4 can do when that comes out in terms of power. But then finally for the home consoles, we've got my least favourite of this generation, that being the Nintendo Wii. But I don't think by any means it's a bad console. I think it's really good. It just has a lot of gimmicky games out there. I mean, I'm not that big of a fan of the motion controls, to be honest. I mean, it does kind of scare me that the future of gaming is going to be all about motion controls, and we're going to lose the gamepad, which I grew up playing video games with the gamepad, so yeah, it kind of scares me a bit. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of gimmicky games, but there's some really good ones out there, such as games like Xenoblade and Last Story, and Pandora's Tower, obviously one of the best Mario games, best two Mario games being Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Skyward Sword's really good. It's got its good games, but most of them are quite a lot of shovelware on this thing. But I respect what Nintendo did. They they tried to do something innovative and revolutionary, something different than just putting more power into the console, and I kind of respect them for that. And it is what it's supposed to be, and that's first and foremost a video games console, and that's all it really is for playing games. Unlike Microsoft and Sony, which they're trying to branch out, making their consoles all sorts of different things. But I kind of respect Nintendo for keeping it simple. It's just a video games console, what it's supposed to be, and also it's got the backwards compatibility as well, which is really cool. With a Gamecube, you actually plug in your 4 controllers and even your memory card as well, so you can load up your data. So I thought it was really cool. Obviously, Microsoft and Sony didn't really do too well in supporting backwards compatibility. Really, I mean, this is the model which didn't support backwards compatibility with the PS2 games, and Microsoft kind of messed up with the 360. They had pretty poor emulation. Most games didn't work, and the ones that didn't work that well. So yeah, I kind of credit to Nintendo for sticking with backwards compatibility. So yeah, that's kind of cool. But anyway, quickly moving on. We got the 3DS right here, which is that's pretty cool. I kind of like it. I mean, there's not too many games out there which appeal to me in the moment, but they're slowly coming out. So yeah, I mean, I've not really played too much of it. Like I said, there's some pretty good games out there, and probably plenty of good ones down the line. I think in the end it will probably end up being better than the Vita, I think, in terms of games. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not really that bothered about the 3D, to be honest. I'm not really into the whole 3D thing. I usually tend to have mine off. But yeah, it's kind of cool, the glasses free thing. But yeah, that's the 3DS. And finally, quickly, we have the Vita, which just kind of sits on my shelf gathering dust. There is like no games for this whatsoever that appeal to me. I've just got the one game being Uncharted, and yeah, I mean, it's a pretty impressive device in terms of graphics and stuff. But yeah, there's currently no games whatsoever for it that interest me. I'm sure somewhere down the line there's going to be some good games coming out. I hope there is anyway, because it's kind of pretty expensive. This device, kind of big as well, I think. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's the PS Vita. So yeah, that's it for now, really. That's all my consoles. So obviously you'll notice I'll have missing some of the big ones, such as the original Game Boy, the Game Boy Color, which I do have a Game Boy Color, but I can't find it, and also missing obviously the Nintendo, the NES. I still haven't got around to picking another one of those up again, and there's probably some others that I'm still missing. But yeah, that's all I have for now, and so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and yeah, peace out.